Hello everyone, it's the new year, it's 2024, at least at the time of the recording. I don't know if you're watching this in 2025, 2026 or so on, but I'm personally basing these particular videos. It's actually going to be this video and my next video that's coming out next Thursday. So definitely subscribe for that on actually how to set good habits and also how to be more efficient. These two particular videos, I actually kind of formed it off of when people think of me, what do they think of? And I usually think it's because I have like these superpowers that everyone has their own superpowers. I just want to make a preface on that. Everyone's got superpowers, but I just want to kind of talk about what I personally think are my superpowers. Depending on who you talk to, they may or may not be my superpowers. I just see it in a particular way. And when I was coming up with these two video ideas, I had a particular scenario for each of them so I could walk through them how I've been able to do it. So for me, this particular video is on how to set good habits, and the one I wanted to talk about is I have an actual track record here. It is Duolingo, and I don't know if it's going to show as reversed or not, but do you see that number? 928 streak. So I have honestly, there's many factors that go into this, and I do want to talk about some of them. And 928 days streak on Duolingo, if you did not know, it's actually a foreign language learning platform. It's completely free. You can pay for like the super subscription if you want to avoid any like ads, or you want to pay for like unlimited hearts. Essentially, you get 5 hearts a day. At least with the free version, you get 5 hearts a day. Once you're done, you're done. So I'm gonna talk about what I've done to get to do 928 days of Duolingo, and to give you some perspective, that's 3 to 4 years. So when it comes to how to set good habits, I'm going to start with the very first one. I personally didn't have this, but I think Duolingo actually does a really good job if you were to get into this. It's an accountability buddy. When it comes to an accountability buddy, it could be like your significant other, it could be your friend that you're doing this with, it could be, in this case with Duolingo, they actually have friends and you can see like what streak they're at, and you can also like do quests together. I personally think that's a really cool way, because in that way you can see like, oh, if they're doing really well, I should do well. Though honestly for me, I don't really have this accountability buddy anymore because he kind of stopped, but it was actually my friend Michelle's boyfriend. Colin, if you're watching this, I feel like you're not, but if you're watching this, thank you. He started Duolingo like maybe 1 to 2 years before me. He had a really long streak. So naturally I was like, okay, if he's doing it, I'm doing it. At a certain point, he ended up stopping, but it didn't stop me to keep on going. When I first did Duolingo, I actually started with Chinese, and now I'm moving on to Japanese. My Chinese have gone good enough where I actually don't normally speak Mandarin Chinese, by the way. I only speak Mandarin Chinese to either when I'm in a restaurant or store that only speaks Chinese. My first default is like actually English, or speaking to my in-laws. Addison's parents only speak Chinese, Mandarin Chinese specifically. They do speak or listen to understand like Cantonese, and that I'm actually Cantonese. But ironically, because I went to school for Mandarin and went to Duolingo for Mandarin, I actually do better in Mandarin. So now like I actually know more Mandarin than I do Cantonese. So accountability buddy is nice because you get to see, you can track your record against them, but you also kind of feel inspired by them. Personally, for me, if you have something where you're like, what if I don't have an accountability buddy? What if I don't have someone that's doing my same exact journey? It does help, but you don't need one. Your accountability buddy could be actually the next one that I'm going to talk about. It's a tracker. And again, I think Duolingo does a really good job on this because they actually have like stars, like the streak as your tracker. Because it basically tells you like, hey, you haven't done Duolingo yet, and like you should do this so you can basically improve. And I get emails, I get push notifications, and I see it if you're like not doing Duolingo and it's like late in the night, it will show like a little exclamation mark. Everything is basically saying you haven't done it yet. It's like a painful reminder. But for me, honestly, the funny thing is, the first thing I think of when I'm about to go to sleep is like, did I do Duolingo? Like, it actually has started to haunt me. Not haunt in a bad way, but for me, it's just more of like, I don't think I have OCD either, but at the same time, it's just something that I've been able to just constantly ingrain. Since I was able to do it in 3 years, I actually have this in my habits, like to the point where that's like what I'm thinking about in a day-to-day basis, is that Even when I'm on vacation, even when I'm in a completely different time zone, even on my wedding day, I did Duolingo, okay? That goes to show that like I have a strong work ethic, and it's not something that you can just BS your way through and just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do this one thing and move on. I've actually been able to be in the competition of Duolingo where you move up in leagues, and I'm in Diamond League. That's the highest league. I have had times where, like, let's say for example for my friend Angel's bachelorette party, I ended up dropping from Diamond to Obsidian, I believe. I think Obsidian is like the second one. Let me actually double check. Yeah, Obsidian is the second one. So I've dropped, and then I was like, oh my god, do I pay point? And when I say pay, I'm not paying like actual US dollars. I'm paying like coins that I've gone through all of this. Do I pay that to restore, or do I keep working on it? And I kept working on it. So if you spoke to any single person that I've been with for 3 years, they will know I'm on Duolingo, because you either see me working on it, or like especially on vacations, like you will see me early in the morning or very late at night, or in the freaking bathroom. I'm doing Duolingo. So a tracker is really nice, especially if there's like an incentive. In my case, it's actually to stay in the league, specifically Diamond. It's like the highest league, but also the streak. So even if you don't have an accountability buddy, or you don't have to do like a proper tracker, I actually use Duolingo in a way, but the Diamond League helps me do enough to be able to say, yes, I've done it. Because if I were to do truly just a streak, I just do one lesson and I'm done. But Diamond League means you do need to stay within like the top 25, which means you do have to outcompete 5 others to be able to not stay demoted, or to not be demoted, but to stay in the league. And naturally, when it comes to that, it means you have to actually do the work. Not to mention they have hearts as well, so it's not like you're just recklessly going through it. You actually have to go through it and do it well. So I found it really helpful for me personally to get through this. Honestly, when the irony is, like, I did a product management internship. I did a product management interview, and someone asked me like what was my favorite product. I said Duolingo, because they really do a good job with trying to get you hooked. So now I actually have Addison doing it, and it actually kind of leads to what I have for one of the other ones I have here, which is actually providing rewards. Honestly, for me, I think a reward for like the first 2 times are good. Like, let's say you want to do this for 30 days straight or for 3 months straight, then that's a good thing to actually do a reward for. But do not do a reward for every freaking time, because you're supposed to honestly do these habits because you want to do it. So personally for me, I didn't have a reward. My reward is like, cool, I've done it. I've reached 1,000. And to me, honestly, I'm very competitive. So the fact that it's gamified, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I don't want to drop out. I did the same thing for Snapchat. Like, there was no reason, no actual merit to Snapchat streaks, but I was like, I want to keep the streak, and it's only because I don't want to break the streak. That was the main motivation. For Duolingo, on the other hand, it's not only the streak or the league, but I actually genuinely wanted to learn the languages as well, and it's helping me because I actually get to do it or practice it. Japanese, not so much. I haven't been able to practice that because I don't have anyone to talk Japanese to, but I have actually gotten Addison into it. So for Addison, I am his accountability buddy. He actually was the one where I told him, like, okay, when we're going for a honeymoon to Japan, I can't be the only one speaking Japanese. He has to too. So I do Duolingo, it reminds him, and then vice versa. Now when he does it, it actually reminds me to do it. So we are each other's accountability buddies without actually needing, we didn't call each other accountability buddies, we just happened to be one. And I even sometimes say, like, did you do your Duolingo? And sometimes he actually like, yeah, I already did. I'm like, what? So he's actually really disciplined. And I think it's because the system that Duolingo has is very gamified. That actually leads to one point, gamify it. I think honestly, what I've just previously said before with the leagues and the streaks, I've already gamified it. Duolingo really helps that. But you can also do that as well as like, okay, if I gamify this, like, okay, if I reach this goal, I reward myself with this. If I do that goal, I will give myself this kind of goal. So it's a really cool way to be able to make it more fun. It's not fun in some ways, but you're almost like, okay, I'm gonna make this a game. Make it a little bit more interesting than just to do a habit, because then you're thinking more about like instead of doing the thing, you're thinking about actually building the habit. And sometimes you do need to gamify it to actually get that incentive in there. And then after that, it ends up becoming good memory because, like I said, maybe do it for 30 days and then do it for 3 months, reward yourself, but then actually try to do the habit for your own good. You should still know that it's for your own good. You should not be doing it for anyone else's benefit but your own. If it ends up having a benefit on someone else, that's great, but you should definitely have some internal goal of like why. For me, I knew that like traditional Chinese classes or traditional language classes actually don't work well on me. I have to do it on my own pace because I know I take things in a very slow manner, and I actually it took me a while to learn English myself, so likewise it's going to take me a while to learn Chinese and Japanese. But personally for me, I haven't been able to get rewards, but Addison has. I've actually treated him like to boba for the 1 week in, and I've treated him to dinner 30 days in, and I treated him omakase when he hit Diamond League. Now there's like no actual reward after that, but he's still doing it. Now there's actually like an inherent thing of like, okay, well, I want to learn Japanese because we want to be able to survive in Japan for 16 days. You technically don't need to know Japanese to survive in Japan, because everyone's really nice and they somewhat know English and you can kind of figure out your way through, but you at the same time, it's just like a nice motivation to do it as well. So the other thing is, okay, I have this on the list here, but I don't do this for Duolingo just because I've already gotten this in my habits so much that I actually don't need to put it on the calendar. And that's what the next one is, put it on the calendar. So this could be a good one for like, let's say when you want to go exercise, put it on the calendar. For me personally, I find it that if I put on the calendar, I stick to it, or at least I'll be constantly reminded that it's actually on the calendar, so I have to do it. I don't go by to-do list, I go by calendar. I just kind of like put on the calendar, see where I would put it, so that way I can plan my day and I would set myself up for success. I don't do that for Duolingo anymore because my day kind of matters like based off of what I'm trying to do. Sometimes I do it in the bathroom, sometimes I do it first thing in the morning, sometimes I do it right before I go to sleep, and sometimes I do it while waiting for something. Addison and I have like not done it in a very consistent manner as to when or where. It's just a matter of, okay, any moment that we have time where we're just lingering. Like actually, I was at Tiffany getting my jewelry clean. Addison was just doing it there while we were cleaning. Like while we were just sitting there. He was just waiting there with his AirPods on and I was just there. I didn't do that because I didn't have AirPods on, but that's one way where you can just try to squeeze in. Everyone's got 5 minutes to squeeze in something. If you're trying to do something for 5 minutes, you can do it. Honestly, when it comes to like, let's say workouts, you can do a squat for 5 minutes when you're just waiting on the train. You know, you can do so many things for like to build a habit. Some people have done like pull-ups every time they walk through a doorway. If you do that and you stick to it, you will definitely be able to do it every time you walk through a doorway. I know someone who did that. Another one could be like, well, actually that doesn't really follow the put on the calendar one, but I will say some people have like a whole thing where they want to write in their journal every single day at night and then put it on the calendar. Again, you don't have to follow it to the T as to the time, but at least it will be a good reminder. But again, this actually matters if you look at a calendar. I follow my calendar like a Bible. So I follow every single thing I put on there. I plan it. I kind of move things around if I need it, but I follow the calendar to a T. So for me, it actually works out to put on a calendar. And this actually helps out with the next thing. If you don't follow a calendar, and this you can do it in tandem, you don't have to do it like either or exclusively, is put a reminder where you see it often. For me personally, I put Duolingo front and center on my profile. It's like right there. So every time I open my phone, I'm reminded to do Duolingo. Addison does the same thing. He has it front and center, and I honestly think because when he hears the infamous Duolingo sounds from me, he does it too, and vice versa. When I hear from him, I'm also like, oh wait, I should do it now. I have time, let's do it. So in my case, like, it ends up being really easy because every time I open my phone, it means I have my time to open my phone, and then every time I open my phone, I'm reminded I should do Duolingo. I will say that some more realistic ones, if you don't have one that's related to like a phone app, is like put a post-it on your, like I know some people that actually have a post-it by their front door to say bring their keys, wallet, and phone. That's what they have. That's their reminder. And at one point, I think people just remind themselves to bring it. Other ones that they can do is like, okay, when you're by the fridge, maybe put one and say like, eat more responsibly. Or if you're in the bathroom, you can have like some notes on there, because constantly everyone's got to use the bathroom. They got to like brush their teeth. You know, you could put a post-it on there and say, brush your teeth. There's so many things you can do as long as you see it. It has to be a place where you constantly see it, and make sure the post-it stays on, okay? So personally for me, I found it really helpful to move it to the front page of my phone, because I see it all the time I open my phone. So naturally, I'm always reminded to do it. The other one, and I feel like this is my superpower, is set system, not to-do list or tasks. In my case, I actually feel like I have it. There's like a whole thing where if you've done it for, I don't know if this is real or not, this is like done by studies or how reputable this is, but there was actually something that we did in health class in high school where, if Mr. Millivoy, I don't know if you're watching this or if anyone had Mr. Millivoy in Great Neck South High School, that they said like if you do something for 21 days, it will become a habit. In my case, it was actually to write better handwriting. It did not work well. I tried my best. It did not work well. I basically made this handwriting not look like mine. And then after that, it just like kind of went back to chicken scratch. But it was somewhat related to, if you do something for 21 days, it will become a habit. In my case, I don't actually have like a to-do list or task like do Duolingo. I don't put that on there. I set systems. So honestly, in this case, Duolingo has a gamified system, so it actually kind of makes me do it already. But let's say, for example, set systems. When I say that, I really mean by having a more holistic kind of point of view with implementing this. So let's say, for example, you forget to brush your teeth every morning or night. I actually have like a daily routine and a night routine. Every day, right after I wake up, and I'm like, I still look at my phone right before, because I want to check if I have like a calendar invite that came in last minute, or if I have something canceled or something got moved around, so that way I can start my day properly and know what to expect, at least up to a certain extent, that things always change during the day. I know I'm gonna go straight to the bathroom, and I actually do it in this exact order, and because of that, I have it where it feels weird if I don't do it. Very first thing, I wash my face, and then I put in my facial cleanser, wash my face again, use a toner with a cotton pad, and then you put a serum on it. In the morning, I have like a youth serum, and then I have like a day cream. At night, I actually have a night serum. It's almost milkier, like a night serum. And then I would use the night cream, which is a little bit more hydrating. And I would actually, right after that, use like a really, really strong Lubriderm, like heavy duty, like really good moisturizing lotion. And then after that, I actually start to brush my teeth. And I used to have mouthwash. Honestly, this is a good reminder that I need to buy mouthwash. It's been a while since I've had mouthwash, but that's my order. Every single day, every single night, I actually have that order. For night, regardless if I fall asleep on the couch, the first thing I do when I realize I fall asleep on the couch at like, let's say 1 a.m., I fall asleep on the couch, it's 1 a.m., I go to the bathroom and I do the whole thing, because I feel really weird to go to sleep without all that done. So naturally for me, those systems help me set these good habits. I feel like if I just had that one-off thing, let's say for example, just brush my teeth anytime during the day, then it just helps me, like, it doesn't really have anything where I feel I have to do it, you know? However, I know people that say I must brush my teeth before I drink coffee. Or the other way around, I must brush my teeth after my first morning coffee. Because, you know, like your teeth are nasty and then you're brushing it off anyways and remove the stains, that kind of stuff. The other thing, I like on the brushing teeth part, I actually know people that always brush their teeth after a meal. After breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, I see people at the office carry a toothbrush to the office. Things like that. Honestly, once you set a system, it will be hard for you to forget or hard for you to actually like not do it, you know? So for me, when it comes to Duolingo, because I see Duolingo, I honestly tap it. Sometimes I forget if I've actually done it in the day, because sometimes it could be like first thing I do in the morning and I forget that I've done it at like 9 p.m. I open it and I'm like, okay, did I do it? And the first thing I also do is go check if I'm in the demotion area of the league or am I good and safe. So I actually have it where every time I do Duolingo, I do the entire circle. So just to kind of have some idea, there's like a whole circle where it's just like essentially your chapter. You do the whole thing, and then after that, there's like, here's your lightning round, which does use points. So I end up doing, every time I do it, I do the whole thing, and I don't do the lightning round until I get a double XP. So that goes to show that I have a system. Addison has a system too. He actually uses Japanese, and when he runs out of hearts, he actually does Chinese instead. So he's still learning something, which I'm happy about, even though he's not learning as much Japanese. To him, like, he's done Chinese before, so it's a lot easier. Japanese, he's not learning it as fast as I am. So he has a system as well to make sure he actually is learning something, even if he lost his hertz. So that's what I would say. Honestly, my biggest thing is set systems and not like tasks, because once you set systems, like no matter what, I feel like it's really easy to actually set something straight. When it comes to like other New Year's resolutions, like eat healthier, you could actually, and this is something that I've done in the past, is like order subscription boxes if like money is permitting. Do subscription boxes, because you're kind of locked in. Every time you open the fridge, you see the box, you take it out, you put it in the microwave, that kind of thing. Or HelloFresh, you see the package, you open the fridge, you see the freaking food there, you gotta cook it, otherwise it's gonna get spoiled. So for me, it's actually like just thinking about constant reminding of like what you're seeing. In this case, it could be a post-it, put on your phone screen, or every time you open a fridge, you see it and you're kind of reminded, oh yeah, I could do that too. And honestly, it's the very similar thing. Like if you want something to be a big part of your life, put it in front of you. Vice versa, if you don't want it to be a big part of your life, put it away. Because for me personally, if I see snacks, I'm going to eat it. But if I put it in a pantry, I'm not going to see it, I'm not going to eat it. So just try to figure out like what exactly works for you and what doesn't work for you, and try to test it out. Which actually leads me to my next video, which is how to be more efficient. Definitely subscribe for that. I think that's an interesting video, because whenever people think about me, they think about, oh, Christine's very efficient. She's very, like, she always likes to optimize things. And I want to talk about this video. There's, of course, many different ways people can set good habits, a lot of good ways that people can be more efficient. These are just my ways that I've been able to do what I'm able to do. So with good habits, the whole driver behind this particular video was how I managed 928 days on Duolingo and to maintain my Diamond League, which is not easy feat. If you try to do it, let me know. Comment down below if you're on Duolingo, what's your highest streak? Are you still on Duolingo? But also, what league are you in? Honestly, I think it's really cool when people learn new languages. And I do not judge people on like how they learn languages. Like maybe some ways are more effective than others. But for me, Duolingo, it's like the system is there for me to build that habit. Eventually, I will get there. Versus the moment I have to pay for a lesson, I just don't want to do it, honestly. It just means I have to spend money on it. There are ways that you can make sure that it's worth your time, because honestly, there's some ways that if you spend money, you will do it. And I've actually done that with, like, let's say ClassPass. If I like spent money on it, I will do the class, because I will lose money if I don't. Versus a gym membership, sometimes like you pay one, like if you pay one membership, you don't go one day, ooh, big whoop, I still paid one price. Versus ClassPass, it's like what's done is done. So think about like what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and then try to kind of like finagle things around to make it work for you. So my next video is on how to be more efficient, and honestly, it will be based off of my Rover experience. It honestly was an inspiration because I did a coffee chat today at work, and one of the things that he was very fascinated about is how I was able to basically be very efficient with my cat sitting with Rover. So definitely stick around for that video, and see you guys next time. Bye!